Hello, welcome to our Mindfulness to Life Tuesday morning meditation. And last week we looked at the way our mind can like to push things away or pull things towards us. And today we're going to build off that and look at the way that we can add filtering to reality. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the contrast of stillness and movement to look at those things. And we're going to do that with the breath. And I'll talk you through some ways that we can add some filtering and maybe look at the spectrum of the way different movement can affect us and the way that our intentions and our processes can affect the experience and the reality that we have in the body. So we're going to be doing that very simply. We're going to be focusing on like this top of the breastbone. Just here, that's going to be our anchor of stillness. And from that, it's pseudo-stillness. And then from that, we've got the movement into the belly of our deep breath. And when we breathe in, we're going to stay aware of this stillness and we're going to breathe into the belly. And there's physical sensations there, there's emotions, there's all of the different details that move there. And then as we exhale, we're going to exhale through the nose if we can, and we're going to just be aware of the facial area, the stuff that's moving above this breastbone. So it's a very simple practice, and then as we get into it, we're going to look at how we can amplify and how we can notice what is the state of the ecosystem naturally, and how we can add some synthetic, you might call it, influences to that to change our experience of reality. This is a really, really powerful practice to build habits that just go into our everyday life, but it often takes practice. So that's what we're going to do right now. So just getting ourselves comfortable. Nice, comfortable hips in our seat. Give ourselves any stretches and adjustments we need to be able to sit for the next 15 minutes or so. And just tuning into that stillness point, that breastplate, taking in some long, deep breaths. Breathing in deeply and just noticing the movements as movements. We don't need to make them anything. We don't need to focus on grabbing or changing anything. That's just going to breed defensiveness. We want to really be open to experience things fully here. Just allowing now to be now. Breathing fully. Gently, gently. And through this whole practice, we're going to do our best to anchor ourselves in the stillness of the top of that breastplate. That bone at the top of your chest. Front and center. Allowing the breath to expand down, side to side, front to back. And as you're ready, just building that habit of focusing on the inhale when we inhale while staying aware of the stillness in the breastplate. Doing our best here. If we get distracted, just come back. And exhale bringing our awareness to the face, the neck, and the movement above the breastplate. Breathing in below the breastplate, breathing out above the breastplate. Gently moving that awareness, taking in all of the movements with each breath as best we can. Allowing that breastplate bone to be our baseline, our reference for stillness, and allowing whatever movements there are to dance on top of that stillness. You might want to slow down a little bit. Staying sensitive, staying relaxed as best we can. And notice how it feels to just add a little more emphasis, a little more power to the inhale. Notice what's moving there. Noticing any reactions in the body to that change. Noticing that change in contrast to the stillness of that breastbone. Just doing our best to notice here. And just relaxing for a few breaths. Staying super sensitive. Staying with that practice of sensitive inhale below the breastplate. Exhale very sensitively above the breastplate. Like a dynamic, moving body scan. Continuing to move with the breath. If our mind is adding a filter saying we need to hold on to a particular sensation, just be aware that that's our mind wanting to add a filter here, and that's okay. Just continuing to move with the breath, continuing to commit to the practice. Staying sensitive to the movement and the stillness. Now we're going to wind our mind back to the past and remember something we're really grateful for. Remember the time, remember the experience, and notice how it affects the movement in the body now. Notice how simply diving into that memory can affect our smile, can affect the emotional body, can affect the way we filter this moment, this reality. Can affect the way we perceive everything around us. It's not a good or a bad thing, it simply is an experience. Simply witnessing this capacity that we have. Continuing to breathe. And now just bringing our awareness to something in the future that we might be excited about. Notice any differences in that movement. Staying with the breath, staying with the experience, the contrast of stillness and movement. But noticing how that excitement, that future projection, filters and inspires and changes our experience. Keeping that perspective, that open awareness. Seeing how this excitement ripples through the lower body in contrast with the breastplate. Seeing how the exhale and the upper body is affected by this excitement. You might notice the excitement fluctuates based on our story, based on our emotional cycles, based on this moment. Staying with the breath, staying with that open stillness and movement perspective. Now we're going to keep that breath rolling, but we're just going to really deeply relax as best we can. Noticing the stillness and movement when we're relaxed. If we need to make an adjustment, that's okay. Just tuning into this. Opening up to the lower part of the body on the inhale, the upper part on the exhale. Gently, gently, we can even slow down the breath here. Let's take one more sensitive breath before we just allow the body to breathe naturally. Simply being. Now, before we come back to the space, we might want to familiarize ourselves with who is it that's witnessing this experience, just feeling it, just noticing who's been observing this stillness and movement. What is the absolute stillness that we've been witnessing this experience from? Just opening, noticing who it really is at the heart of our consciousness, our perspective, from which everything else is layered on top of. That still central witness at our core, the one that listens, feels, sees, thinks. And now very gently, just giving your body whatever adjustments, stretches, movements it's asking for. Gently, gently. In your own time and way, coming back to the space. Yeah, it's so profound when we can start to see our filtering for ourselves, and it's not a perfect science, and it's much easier once we start to be able to really gracefully accept whatever's coming up and being able to just be conscious of our patterns of, whatever filters we're putting on reality. And it's okay, it's human and it's natural, and the more that we're aware of it, the less that it rules us, and the more that we can be conscious about our choices. So this is one example of the amazing practices that we're sharing each week. If you'd like to have more of these, just subscribe on YouTube or follow us on Facebook. And if you'd like to support these services that are being offered, help us out through Patreon, and we'll keep you posted on Facebook about any live events that are coming up. We've got a workshop coming up early next year, but I'll give you more details about that when it's time. So thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful week, and enjoy this awareness of our movements and our stillnesses. Love you guys. See ya.